co-founder and CEO of Tilt, the easiest way for any group to pool money online for anything. I started Tilt about 2 years ago, and it's my second crowdfunding platform. The most local one is to my life is my dad. So he's a third-generation entrepreneur, so I'm a fourth-generation entrepreneur. We would do the things of tossing the baseball and kind of the father-son things. But what he and I really like to do is, even from when I was about 5 or 6 years old, he had me memorizing these principles that he lived by, 30 principles. Everything from life is a cinch by the inch to understanding the importance of humility. And that was, as I've grown older, I have grown to appreciate how special and unique that was of a father to teach, his 5-year-old son, 6-year-old son. And he taught me to meditate when I was 7 years old. So I'm absolutely a product of that environment of his upbringing. So that's it's almost like when you're 7 years old, you don't know the uniqueness of your childhood experience. But as I said, well, I'm 27. He took a very different approach to parenting that I'm thankful for every day. And then I'd say, historically, I've always been a fan of just economics. I studied development economics. So historically, Adam Smith was a major disruptor. And as much credit as he gets within the economics realm, he doesn't get enough credit for just a lot of the observations. A little bit like Darwin, I think he would look at the connected web and commerce that's happening on the web and say that a lot of his theories are now put to the ultimate test. A lot of the boundaries and barriers of traditional commerce, traditional economics. He'd look at Bitcoin and say, all right, we're about to find out if digital currency does take off. He would say, we're about to find out a lot about his theories on currency. My favorite disruptive change is the connected web. I think the web, obviously, the consumer web in the last 15 years has been a force multiplier for so many things. I think 100, 200 years from now, that will be our Henry Ford moment, our industrial revolution. But within that change, I think more specific to the last 5 to 7 years, is the connected web. So a web going from just connecting you and I and a lot of people around information and communication, and now tying identity to it, and it being about you and the context of that information, of coming from your friends or coming from an expert, coming from a authority on the topic. I think that is a radical change, a radical disruption that I'm a huge fan of. Mobile is one that, as we've gone from a PC era to a non-PC era, and mobile I think is a really exciting one. But I think, and it's the one that gets the most attention. But I honestly think that is a red herring to the massive disruption that's happening with going from a web and a connection of you and I to a connection around the context of where we're seeing that information, and being more and more of a social and connected context. So, and if you just look at mobile, it's the products that are leveraging the social connectivity that are making the most massive explosion, the most impact on mobile technology. So you can almost look at something like Instagram or Snapchat and say that is validation of a social web as much as it's a validation of a mobile web. Disruptive change that I am currently challenged with, and I think I will constantly be challenged with, is a personal one, and that's going from building a product and building the first version of the product with Tilt. And going from having my hands on everything to building a company where I've got to learn to work through others to get things done. There's There's a handful of macro disruptive changes that are going on, but we really like those as a startup. Those are great. Those are opportunities. So those aren't really challenges. I think the biggest challenge, at least in my life, is more of a micro disruption of going from building a product to building a company, and just how vastly different those two exercises are. So I'd say, just as a personal, control freak, going from really having my hands and eyes on everything to now really working through other individuals. That's a big change. That's a constant daily challenge.